good day to you. Welcome to Hug Nation Live. Welcome to a time to share gratitude and connect and set our intentions for the day. Who do you want to be today? Who do you want to be? Any old school Oingo Boingo fans out there? I am quite brimming with gratitude and looking forward to sharing. On screen, I've got a video paused that I finished this morning that I'm looking forward to sharing. It's just a minute with some awesome words from Reverend Elroy Shekels, or Reverend Caleb Shekels, my grandfather. Good morning, Gerbot. I keep telling people that I sing a song every day in the morning, so I think I better honor my word. This morning we're singing to tell the things we like. If you've got a cool unicycle or a fancy bike, maybe it's electric one, maybe it can go real fast. But if you've got some gratitude, this is all I ask, we'll share it now. Let us celebrate with you, celebrate our gratitude. We want to hear all through the new. Welcome to this morning, it could be afternoon too. Help me share gratitude, make it all the way through. Good morning, Juan. Little unicycle wink there, Gerbot. What are you grateful for today? Lisa came home yesterday. And, man, if the heart keeps growing fonder when she leaves, I am going to be codependent. I will be a wreck if I continue to grow fonder. No, I take that back. I am enjoying my continued appreciation of her. So she came home, had another busy day, but we had time to do a little cuddling right, after gratitude. And then she prepared for her choir practice. And we had choir practice last night. And I appreciate, I do appreciate her a lot. But yesterday, even more in deeper ways to appreciate her. Like the venue. She did choir practice the night before in Monterey. Woke up at 4 a.m. so she get her flights that was then delayed because of mechanical. And then flew in, prepared for a choir in San Diego. Her venue, or prepaid venue that she rents for choir practice, let her know that day, we've got a fire inspection, you can't use it. She's got, 100 people planning to show up. So she, with her team, found a new place. Meanwhile, she's like seeing a chiropractor and dealing with body pain stuff. And she figured it all out, and it just, her baseline capacity, not that it's not a challenge for her, but the what she is able to creatively, organizationally achieve on a day-to-day basis is so impressive to me, so inspiring. Good morning, Brandy. Good morning, high noon. If you're here, say hello. Share a little bit of gratitude. So last night, this new location, I was kind of lucky. Oh, you know what? I was going to share. I made a sign. I offered to make a sign to put on the old location in case people didn't know it changed. She says, actually, my assistant is going to text everybody, so that'll be okay. But could you make a sign for the new place? Because this new place is kind of hard to know where to go. And I go, yeah. So I took it seriously. I added LED glowing to it so it wouldn't be missed. I also made her a welcome home sign that was in the front porch when she arrived by Lyft. And then during choir practice, there were a number of times that I got frustrated because I was having trouble remembering the lyrics, and which, if I did remember the lyrics, I was trouble remembering what part the baritones played in it, with a 4-part harmony. people right here are singing differently than you're singing, and it's really a skill that I'm still developing on how to stay focused on my part and not sing what other people are singing around me. And sometimes it triggers my I can't do this, I'm frustrated little voice inside me. But she is just on and smiling and lifting us all up for 3 hours. And there were times when she was explaining things and talking about the songs and talking about the power of music, because she's curated this group of songs. It's all about finding harmony within conflict, finding ways to connect with people even when we're in disagreement. Very topical. And there were times when she was talking about her intentions and her beliefs, or one of the inspirations of a song she wrote, and I was just like tearing up. I was just like, wow, this person's incredible. I actually had a twinge last night where I'm like, I gotta step up my game. Like, then I remembered, we are not competing to be most awesome person. We are partners. And for example, me being able to make a sign on a busy day for her, I am a supportive partner. That was an act of service. I realized that acts of service are actually a pretty strong love language of mine, like flying to Portland, making a sign, trying to, I got the hair clogged in the drain last night. No one asked me to. It wasn't even clogged yet. I just know that with her beautiful hair, over time, every once in a while, got to use the right tool to pull out the hair. So I'm enjoying this awareness that acts of service is one of my love languages. Do you know your love language? Good morning, Edna. Heinun says, grateful for being here now in the live present moment with you beautiful peeps. Think about that. We are geographically all over the world, and through some technical tools that allow us to kind of use as a focusing tool, we are together. We are sharing this moment. We are impacted by the thoughts, the feelings, the words of one another. I mean, that's the case all day long, but what a cool thing to be able to do it even in physical isolation. We are powerful. Thank you for the support. I hope that you receive in the same way that I do from these gatherings. Brandy says, wow, I'm grateful when I at least wash a couple dishes and scoop the litter box. I feel you, although we don't have cats. I used to enjoy litter box scooping. There's something satisfying about it. Girlrot says, grateful to have spent a week at Tom Sewall's Maui Art Compound many years ago. He was an early collaborator and friend of Oingo Boingo and just an overall cool guy. Oh, you just got mad respect from me. You know, Oingo Boingo was a band that my babysitter introduced me to when I was very young. That was her favorite band. And I loved Oingo Boingo. What are the early songs? Now that I think of it, I love little girls. They make me feel so good. That didn't age well. But sometimes I think about, like, when I was in junior high, if I was forced to get a tattoo, I think that the tattoo I would have got in junior high would have been Oingo Boingo. So anytime I think about getting a tattoo now, I think about that and go, are you sure this thing that you love right now isn't going to be Oingo Boingo in 10 years? I mean, not that Oingo Boingo is wrong. It's just, it's not as important to me anymore. It's no longer something that I would want to be proclaiming to the world on a daily basis. High Noon says, gratitude for the crew on the Creator Watch, also known as the Whale Watch yesterday, for bringing us out and seeing humpback whale logging and napping. They sleep with half their brains off. Fun facts. You got to see a whale yesterday? Thanks for sharing that. That's cool. Gerbot says, grateful to be here now. Perhaps the greatest statement of gratitude that you can have. Brandy's grateful for this and all of us here. I so do, High Noon says. I think that means you're feeling this. Brandy says, I am always grateful for the feeling that comes with a clean litter box. Okay, I've had this video on the screen teasing you that I'm going to play next. So in 1996, no, is that right? No. In 2006, I'm sorry, 2006, my grandfather was 94 years old, or he could have been 93 at that time. I invited him to Burning Man. I mean, he had been giving me things to bring to the burn for years. Like when my grandmother passed, he gave me her Bible to bring and put in the temple, which is, you can look it up, is a respectful, honorable way to dispose of an old Bible. And so each year he would give me something to bring to the temple, and he would ask me questions, and he was the first one that referred to Burning Man as my congregation. He saw it as my spiritual community before I was really talking about it in that way. And I had been sharing him with people, and there was a lot of people like, let's get him to the burn. And people were really rallying around and saying, we'll get him a RV, we'll do this. And I asked him, like, do you want to go? And he declined. And he decided his last trip that he was going to do was instead of going to Burning Man, he was going to go around the country and visit his former parishes that he had been a minister at, and just reconnect and say goodbye to all these people that he had been his spiritual family for all his life, which I think about a lot, and I probably talk about a lot. Like what a reap what you sow kind of wealth. He didn't go through his bank statements and look about how much money he had earned over his life, or how much property he had acquired, or gold treasure, or cool expensive watches. He measured all these people and their children and their grandchildren that had been impacted by his love. That is wealth. But because he didn't go, he said he recorded a video for me, 2 burners, which I then put on a video iPod. This is pre-cell phone video stuff, I think even it may have been, no, we may have had digital cameras, but not on phones. And so I went around the burn, and when I connected with someone, I said, hey, I told him about my grandfather. I go, would you like to hear his message that he recorded for burners? And I would put headphones on amongst all the chaos and play them this video of him talking. So I knew it existed. I was hoping that I didn't lose it, as I moved hard drives and did backups over the years. And I found it a couple days ago and cleaned it up a little bit. So here is Grandpa Caleb's message to burners. And I added a little context in it. So let's see if I can do this and do... Will this work? Yeah.
To all of you who are there with expectation and dreams and hopes, have you never noticed that the great people of history have spent night in the desert? It's not comfortable always, but it's good for you. You see, who am I in this total relationship to all these fellow brothers and sisters? Because you are you, and you are unique, and the special power and force that made you very distinctive. So find fulfillment, and you'll be pleased.
Every vibration that comes out of your mouth
Yes.
is going through the internet and vibrating out
Oh my.
all over the world.
Isn't that amazing? We live in a world we need to get positive about things and rejoice in the gift of life.
And that is why every day when we hug, we say, on behalf of Grandpa Caleb, who is behind me on the wall. What a man. I feel so blessed to have spent so much time with him and to have his DNA and spirit in my bones. Hello, Faithy Pie. Says grateful to be here live. Love from Key West. Love to you. Hello, Rui. Brandy says, I'd love to experience Burning Man at least twice. Once to work out the hiccups, second to just enjoy. I like that idea. It is a difficult thing to just go and check off your bucket list. You know, I got a email last night from someone who is a former participant in Gratitude Circles, and they let me know that Burning Man changed their life. They had quit their job. They'd been pursuing their arts. They just had a massive shift in their life and their identity. And they've been wanting to make a video about it. And they've been struggling because they're like, how do I express? How can I explain Burning Man? How can I tell people about this thing that did so much for me? And my response was, I don't think you can. I think what you can do is you can talk about how you've been changed. You can talk about the transformation that you've gone through. You can talk about how the things you experienced, the people you experienced, the attitudes you experienced, the setting and the container that you were within, how those things allowed you to grow, allowed you to feel more free or emboldened, courageous. Maybe talk about how the principles affects the tone of interactions in community. Because trying to describe Burning Man to someone is like trying to describe your dream that you had last night, or trying to describe a psychedelic experience. There is 0% chance that the person who is hearing the words that you're saying are going to interpret those words anything close to what you are trying to explain. It's the same problem with any spiritual text, any prophet's description of the divine. You can't do it. So careful about how you describe the undescribable. But continue to try. And continue to focus on your personal experiences, your shifts in judgment, in self-awareness, in release of obstacles. That, I think, is the story. And that's something that people can relate to, whether they've been to Burning Man or not. How gifting affected the way you see your fellow human. These are the stories that are worth telling, more so than, and then there was this whale and it had like neon, and there was like this light thing that happened, and then the sound, and then there was this like uh-huh. It sounds cool. It's like describing the Grand Canyon or describing a fireworks show. Like it's not a good use of your time. But you can describe the way the Grand Canyon affected you. And people will get that far easier. Gerbot says, yay, lovely ripples from Grandpa Caleb. Thanks for sharing. I kind of knew that this group would like it. Hinding says, I love that bean. I would have loved to have met him. I see his spark in you, John. He is such a huge part of my life. I mean, I feel so honored when I talk about him and when I tell people that I think of him every day, and every single day I lead a hug and I say, on behalf of Grandpa Caleb, he is a guiding light. I showed that video I just played to Lisa last night, and she was like, oh, I feel like I get to know him through you and through what you share. And at the same time, she said, I think I would have loved him. And I, as I said, he would have fucking loved you. Although he loved everyone. He had an open invite. He goes, invite anybody you want to have lunch with us. I want to meet any of your friends. And a lot of people took us up on it. Juan says, thank you for sharing your grandfather's love every day to everyone. Thank you so much. You're welcome. I feel guided by him at this stage in my life, but I feel pretty independent. He's not like a guru, but there was a time in my life, around 2007, 2008, 2009, when I was a little lost, and I found meaning in a purpose of sharing his lessons, his gratitude, his energy with the world. Thus the Hugmobile. Do you know that I went on a Hugmobile? After he died, I did a West Coast tour. My friend Scott and I, after it was fully outfitted, we drove up to Seattle, Portland, Sacramento, LA, San Diego. I think those are the only cities. But we met people like yourself that had been a part of our broadcasts, people that had known Grandpa Caleb through the web. And I got to have in-person gatherings like this that included group hugs. And then it became very clear what Hug Nation would be in his absence. It would be trying to not copy him, but work towards that same feeling that we would get when we would share broadcasts with him. Wisdom and gratitude and presence. Heinen says, being your authentic self, and then those let you be being your authentic self, and then those that let you be that is so much love. I was talking to my friend Krista Richards, who hosted this kind of intimate singing gathering, and we were talking about how we do the same thing. She had this beautifully created container of song, whereas I like to create a container of digital and physical gathering. But both tasks are about creating a container of love and trust that people, when they are there, can soften, open their hearts, which then allows for healing. Heinian says, I see that with my Grammy. Oh, man, having a wonderful elder in your life is such a gift. Gerbot says, grateful to have attended 22 burns, 2 virtual ones, and to be able to make the pilgrimage again this year. 22! Bravo, Gerbot. Has anybody ever used the, I can't remember what it was called, BRC VR during COVID? It was a VR Burning Man where people, I think Pink Heart had a VR space. You can walk around and hang out there. I did a talk there about the 10 principles as a VR, avatar. It was pretty cool, and a lot of people spent a lot of time there during COVID, and I heard wonderful stories about people really getting in touch with their creativity and the 10 principles. Well, that organization has now, it was a part of this AltSphere kind of product. It was just like, one area that you could go to. Well, they are just now launching that as a standalone thing. It's called Burnersphere, and I'm getting my VR goggles back today because I haven't used it since then, because I'm going to check it out, and I got an opportunity. The creators of it asked me if I would interview them and do a little Zoom interview and talk about what this place is. And I'm really curious because, a part of me is skeptical and a part of me is excited. There were things that I really loved about it, and there were things about it that were difficult for me. But I think, any attempt to extend the magic of the playa into year-round opportunities and to make it radically inclusive are worth exploring. So if you've played with Burnerverse or VRCVR and you have questions that I should ask them, let me know. Gerbot says, I enjoyed Altspace that year. RIP Altspace. Long live Burnersphere. Yeah, Burnersphere. Gerbot says, grateful to have gone with my mom for 6 of those, and grateful for my cousin for buying my first ticket for me in 2001. Mom with 6, that's so awesome. I was talking about bringing my mom to Burning Man last night at choir, because my mom's in the choir, and I'm just so grateful that I get to share things like that with her. Yes, Gerbot, permission container. Like I'm hosting a men's day, September 7th, and my philosophy around men's groups is less about me as teacher and more about me as container maker, facilitator. Because the deepest healing happens when we feel safe and supported and allow ourselves to let go of or break down or dissolve the walls that are containing our truth. And that is a job you do from the inside, but you do it when you feel safe and around people that are going to be celebrating and supporting you when you do it. Heine says, will it be on YouTube? Doubtful. But I don't know. Actually, I don't know what they plan to do with the interview. That's a good question. Maybe now that I think about it, I'm sure they will use it in some like marketing type stuff that's more for people that are on Burnersphere. I will keep you posted. And I guess one of the big aims of this Burnersphere is that it's like a immersive museum. So like the old temples are there that you can check out in VR, and the old man bases are there. So I think that's an interesting idea of a way to honor and appreciate parts of the Burning Man history that, of course, because of its transitory nature, no longer exist. But you can revisit and go, oh, wow, that temple was cool. Heinun says, I love VR YouTubes. Oh, so, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, maybe it'll be, I don't know. I'll keep you posted. Anyone else have any more gratitude they want to share? I am grateful for Lisa's patience and optimism and good energy. Choir is an edge for me, and I hit upon frustration when I have trouble memorizing and forget things, and she's just so uplifting and supportive, and we're like halfway through the season right now, so there's still plenty of time to remember things, but it's easy for my mind to be like, part of my mind will even like be angry at her, like, you're giving us another song to learn. Stop it. Oh, I know what else I'm grateful for. I'm grateful that my nephew, Caleb, who's named after Grandpa Caleb, is coming over today to do some work, be like an assistant for me. I've got some projects that I'm going to have him help me with, and I'm trying to figure out what those might be. Like, I think I might have him help me fine-tune some of the lighting in my studio, because it's hard to do by myself. Record myself, take out the card, walk it upstairs. But I think that might be a good idea of time well spent. I also might have him go through some old Hug Nation archives and let me know if he thinks they're interesting at all to a modern person. Because sometimes the things I talk about are evergreen. Talking about being in integrity. If I said that 10 years ago, it's still a good lesson. But if I talk about being integrity and I use the example of Tanya Harding's attack in the world of ice skating, like, that probably is no longer a video that is what they call evergreen. Heinun is grateful for water. That's one I would like to return to more often. Thank you. Gerbot says, and right now their challenge is getting enough sustained interest to consistently bring people in. I wish them luck with that project. It's so true, and it's the true with any community. There's scaling. It's like throwing a party. Like when Pink Heart throws our fundraiser parties at Spin Nightclub. Spin Nightclub has ground floor, second floor dancing, and a rooftop. And the rooftop is awesome. But when the party first opens, only the first floor is open. Because if you have 100 people in 3 stories, it feels so empty and it feels like this party sucks. But 100 people on the one floor, it feels like it's going good. And I think you have to have something like 400 people there before they open the rooftop. Because it's got to feel like, it's got to feel full. And electronic communities have the same problem. You don't want to be so stuffed that it's annoying and too busy, and the challenge that the Burner Sphere has is that it's massive. It has the potential to be massive. So how do you encourage or make sure that people can have the social interactions that they want to have? I wish them well as well. Hear what says, oh shit, I didn't realize Spin had a rooftop, right? Yeah, it's super cool up there, but they only open it for 2 reasons. One, it disperses the crowd and makes it feel like it's an empty party if there's not enough people. And 2, it takes more staff. and so it's just not cost effective. But yeah, someday I'll throw a party at Spin that's so good that they'll open the rooftop. Well, speaking of raising the roof, wherever you are, let's give ourselves a squeeze. Let's hug one another. Let's sink into this place beyond the physical. It doesn't matter where your heart, it doesn't matter where your feet are, it matters where your heart is. And we are sharing this space, this container, this support, this love. So thank you for adding your good vibes to this mix, this beautiful stew that we can ladle out all day long on behalf of us. So let's think about one another, think about all of the opportunities ahead of us today where we can be kind, and take a deep breath in and squeeze. On behalf of Grandpa Caleb and all of us here, thanks for being here for Hug Nation Live. I love you. Enjoy the day. If you see me post the grandpa video, give it a like or a comment to help it pop up on the things. Which is kind of like any kid. Anytime you see a video of mine, if you leave a comment, even if it's like something you copy paste every time another beautiful example of video for people to watch, it still helps the algorithms to believe that it is worthy of other people seeing it. Hey, Honya. Honya's heartbroken, currently writing a letter canceling our participation this year. I'm grateful for all we've learned from you in the process of preparing. Thank you. I assume you mean the burn? I'm sorry to hear that. But I also am confident that everything works out. And you never know what you've been spared. You never know what difficulty you are now going to avoid, or what this hardship of grief might help you to learn and grow. Maybe that's too soon to hear that, but I know how hard that is. So I'm grieving with you and grateful for whatever comes next for you.